If you're having trouble with pivot points, this is the video for you. Now I'm going to show you one method to do it temporarily, one method to do it permanently, and then another kind of sneaky method to do it using inheritance in a blueprint. So let's get started. So as you can see here, I've just brought a static mesh in from Sketchfab, and the pivot point is not centralized, meaning when I rotate it, as you can see, it's rotating around the outside, not from the center. Now what you can do is, the first technique to do it temporarily is hold Alt and click your middle mouse button in, and you can just drag across like this, and we're just going to move it up a little bit, make sure it's centralized, and now as you can see, when we rotate it, it'll rotate around the center. So that's fixed if you want to do it temporarily, but I know a lot of time that's not the case. So as you can see here, the pivot point is completely off center again, and it only was a temporary fix. Now it's just rotating around the outside again, and this is just not good. So let's just drag this and move it to the center again by holding Alt and middle mouse button. Now once it's centralized, we can right click on the static mesh, go to pivot, and set as pivot offset. So inside the third person map, this will keep the pivot offset, and this is a permanent fix for any static mesh inside the viewport. So as you can see right now, it's rotating around the center where we put the pivot point. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a different method if you want to fix pivot points inside blueprints. What we need to do is get all these skeletal mesh assets, and we're just going to take these. So we're just going to take all the static mesh assets, drag them into the new blueprint, and as you can see, the pivot point is still off center. So this method is going to be to do with parenting and having children of each static mesh. So as you can see, when I rotate it, it is still off center. Okay, so what we're going to do is select the wall mount and make that the parent of the other static meshes. So if you rotate the mount, everything else will inherit. So we're going to do the so I'm just going to drag the cable onto that, and I'm just going to reparent basically everything. You can copy exactly what I'm doing here. So now when we rotate this, okay, so we're still getting this problem where everything's inherited, but obviously the pivot point is still not correct on the other static meshes. So what we're going to do, we're just going to create a cube and make it really, really small, and you'll see why we're doing this in a minute. Okay, so let's line this camera up, and we're just going to move this cube, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's a pencil. Let's kind of just move this cube into position. So what we're going to do, we're actually just going to hide this cube inside the static mesh, so you'll never ever be able to see this. So we're going to use this as like the joint or the mount for it. So let's just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so now we have the cube in position. You will never be able to see this cube in the game because it's hiding inside like another static mesh, and you can use this for like doors to change the pivot point as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the cube the parent of the main camera part. Okay, so what I've done, I've dragged the cube I've made the main part of the camera the child of the cube. So as you can see, when we rotate the camera on its own, it does not rotate correctly, but when we rotate the cube, because the camera is inherited and because it's a child of the cube, it inherits all the rotation. So it will rotate exactly from the center of the cube. Yeah, so for the third method, the inheritance one, if it was a little bit confusing, just obviously you can rewind at any time and just go back through. I will leave the static meshes that I used in this tutorial in the description of the video. If you fancy learning how to make this camera work and making it a fully functional CCTV system with motion detection and all of that kind of stuff for your game, then do me a favor, click the video in the top right and I'll catch you later. Peace.